everybody. Welcome to Reading Your Way to Heaven. This is Gabe Gutierrez, and I'm joined as always by Jason. Last week on Reading Your Way to Heaven, Spoolstra. Jason, what's up, man? How's it going?
On this very special episode,
I toyed with that, but I was like, no, this is more of a recap. This is the whole, like, last time we were together, this is what happened.
Or it's one of those. You remember, this was a staple in '90s sitcoms where they would have a quote unquote new episode, but the entire episode were from previous episodes in the series.
Episode.
Where they would pull something like, remember the time, and then they would show the clip of whatever, and you're like, yeah, I already watched this. Why am I watching this again?
I'm totally wasting my time right now.
Don't say it's a new episode when 90% of it's just talking, rehashing the old. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm doing okay. I was gonna say I'm going through some stuff. It's nothing crazy or sad or bad. It's just my own personal thing. I can't describe it. It's hard to describe. It's the best I can come up with.
Okay, Dante.
I was going to say existential crisis, but that sounds so dramatic, and it's not that dramatic. It really isn't. But I was actually going to make a video about this on my YouTube channel. And just
what is your YouTube channel?
Thank you so much for asking. It's called Light and Heavy Pilgrimages. And this is a very kind of light and heavy topic, but what I'll just kind of tease it where for the first time in my life, I'm without a close mentor or someone, especially a male mentor.
Yeah.
And so I'm realizing now more and more that the Lord is now calling me. He's like, okay, you've been mentored enough. Now I need you to be a mentor. I need you to mm-hmm. be the elder here. And I've been very lucky and blessed to have so many amazing elders and mentors in my life that you don't realize. And I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. You know, they had to grow up much earlier. They didn't have as many, blah, blah. But anyways, I don't want to go into it. Just go watch the video once it's up. It's not up yet, but it'll be up. Anyways, but I'm okay. Like, honestly, I am. It's just that realization of like, okay, this is where the Lord's calling me right now in my life. Let's go. But it's a very heavy topic, and don't want to
let's go. But where?
And it's also it's okay. Well, when I have to make decisions and be authoritative and be like the man in the sense of the man that makes the decision, not just in your home, but outside of your home.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects a lot more. Like the community's looking to you now as the head of the table, and you're going, oh, wow. Okay. So that time is now. That time has now come.
Mm-hmm.
Why
are you guys looking at me?
Exactly. And it's like, and I've had those moments before, but I've always been able to kind of turn to someone to just make doubly make sure. Like, am I doing this right? Am I good? Mm-hmm. Is this how you would do it? Yeah. Okay, cool. Now it's like, oh no, I don't have that.
Yeah.
It's me. And so, it's scary, but exciting all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. This distance between us has been rough on me too, Jason.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. We're good. We made the big move. We're getting settled into the home. Mm-hmm. Thanks be to God. We have a kitchen mostly now. We have cabinets. We're living in the home for a few weeks without. So now we actually have stuff to put stuff into. That's really great. Countertops will be coming soon. I woke up this morning and there was water in my garage from a water heater.
Oh no.
It's like, oh man.
Oh no.
Will it not stop? Please, God. I was talking to a priest earlier today telling him, hey, this is what happened. He's like, you have the worst luck with water. Thanks. Like, we got to get you to come over to bless the house quick because goodness gracious, You
need to call on Moses here, man.
Oh, man. So one quick trip to Home Depot later, and and a phone call to a guy I know. I got a guy, a water heater guy. It's a statement I thought I'd never have to say, but I do. And we're squared away. We got that fixed up. So, but yeah, man, life's going on, and work is picking up, and it's the season. It's the season for new stuff to start. I know we're not in the spring, but academically we kind of are, in the sense that it's brand new. Everything is new for everybody.
Well, speaking of new,
we're in a new book.
We are in a new book.
We're still in the City of God.
Yes.
And we're still in part 1. But it's book 5 of 4. Four. Book 5. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Book 4 of part 1.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited. I just skipped ahead.
Exactly. Or you just skipped ahead because you read the first 5 chapters and you were like, didn't I read this?
I got to say, I do appreciate the 5 chapter. I'm really kind of glad we scaled that back a little bit.
It's not too short. It's not like Francis de Sales' Intro to the Devout Life short.
Correct. Well, we probably should have done that then, but I'm glad we're doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah. But these first 5 chapters, the first 3 are like, oh, okay.
Like recaps.
Let's take some member berries. Gabe, do you remember? Do you remember when we read that?
You remember. So a couple lines in part 1 or chapter 1, just again, like these gods, these false gods that the Romans worship, like, Augustine makes no bones about it. Like, these are demons, so malignant and deceitful that they delight in the wickedness imputed to them. Let's just call a spade a spade. Like, this is what you're dealing with, and this is not good. It's not healthy. It's terrible. And so, it's leading you to really horrendous errors, and including these quote unquote divine affairs of these plays. That I loved the line here also, that if there was a community that had consisted entirely of decent and honorable men, those shows ought not to have ranked among human affairs. Like, it wouldn't have even happened. Like, if there was decent people, then these things don't happen at all, let alone the fact that this is quote unquote divine affairs.
And I love the part that I underlined was at the end of chapter 1, where he said, I briefly set out these points in book 1. In books 2 and 3, I've partially fulfilled the intention. I must now satisfy the expectation of my readers by completing the design. So basically, it's like, we after reading the first 3 books, you're like, wow, this was very thorough. This was very well thought out and well explained. And there's no more you need to say, Augustine. We got it. We're good. No.
Yeah. Except there's more. But wait, there's more.
He's already dead. Nope. He's still breathing. And then he doesn't let off the gas in chapter 2 on the subjects included in book 2 and 3. Again, a lot of rehashing, but I just, where he's like, if I'm not mistaken, I have sufficiently dealt with these questions in previous books. And he goes on.
And yet still, I'm going to deal with him again.
Mm-hmm. Because the devil, he keeps.
Hey, you might have slept since you read it. We're going to recap here.
And I mean, honestly, I can understand, especially if he wrote these books, like book 1, 2, and 3, in the span of years. And, you may have read book 1 5 years ago. So let me rehash it for you.
Yeah.
But basically, he goes on to talk on just as he says, if I had decided to collect the historical facts here, and he's basically getting at here is like books 2 and 3, and he mentioned it at the end, as I said in chapter 1, but in this chapter he's saying, listen, it's like if I would have collected everything, the world could not contain the books of which
yeah
the moral
I'm only
atrocities
on like a fraction of this. If I had gone to all the historical sources, you can't even imagine what it would have been like. I loved that. I underlined that too. I did like just a little bit before that where he does break down the basic gist of 2 and 3. That in 2 he deals with moral evils, or like actual real stuff, real evils, the worst of all evils. Versus, in book 3 he's talking about these external evils, or the evils that are dreaded by fools. The stuff that, like, this kind of stuff happens to everybody. It does nothing. It's not evil. This is that other stuff that you think is fine. That's the actual evil stuff here.
And I also appreciated here at the end of chapter 2, where he's saying, while throughout all the 3 books now I completed, I have pointed out the consolations which God, even in the midst of the horrors of war, has bestowed through the name of Christ, which the barbarians hold in such respect. And I love that part there where he stops and he's like, even the barbarians respect that name. And he's already shown us in the previous books of how the barbarians, when they ransacked Rome, like, they didn't attack the churches. They didn't attack the temples of Jesus Christ. So even the name of Jesus that the barbarians respect, that, God is there, and he makes the sun rise on the good and on bad, and sends the rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous.
Yeah. No, I love that too. And then I guess moving over into chapter 3, is the extent of dominion when acquired only by work to be considered among the blessings of the wise or the happy? And what I really appreciated here was his hypothetical take of two individuals, right? The wealthy person and the poor, or just the ordinary person, mm-hmm. right? And just the idea that you've got this person who's rich, but their rich has to come through these movements, right? That still don't make the person happy. If anything, maybe even makes the person more anxious or more, hungry for more material goods, or still has the sadness, doesn't take it away. Versus this ordinary person, this other man, who is content with his strictly limited resources. He's loved by family and friends. He enjoys the blessing of peace with his relations, neighbors, and friends. Loyal, compassionate, kind, healthy. I do not think anyone would be fool enough to hesitate about which he would prefer, being this rich man, but with these struggles, or the ordinary man with just this beautiful life. And it uses these individuals, this example of these 2 individuals, as a setup for, like, this is how nations should operate as well. And Rome has done what the rich man has set out to do, and that's just to take, to acquire, to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic when you have to do immoral things or evil things, you start projecting on others because you're really showing your own self on the others, and you're paranoid. Well, yeah, of course you're going to be, because you had to go into the evil part. You had to tap into something that was not healthy, was not good, and that ultimately you become a slave to. And that was the part that I underlined near the end, where he says, the good man, though a slave, is free. The wicked, though he reigns, is a slave. And not the slave of a single man, but the slave of far worse. The slave as many masters of has vices. The slave within that. And it's so true, because, we as Christians, as Catholics, we have a lot in doctrine, a lot of saint literature talking about how we ought to be a slave to Christ. We ought to be a slave to Mary. That was, I always think of St. Louis de Montfort talking about that. And people freak out about that. Like, oh my gosh, it's like, well, again, when I lay my life down for them, I am free. I'm free from everything. And I don't have the inclination or desire for sin like I did when I thought I was quote unquote free.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. No, I underlined that section too. I love that. It's just so well said. Pushing into chapter 4 here, kingdoms without justice are like criminal gangs. I loved this interchange between Alexander the Great and the pirate, right? When the king Alexander asks the fellow pirate, "What is your idea in infesting the sea?" And the pirate answered, with uninhibited insolence, the same as yours, in infesting the earth. But because I do it with a tiny craft, I'm called a pirate. Because you have a mighty navy, you are called an emperor. Like, oh, man. It's true, though. It's like the same tactics. It's the same motivation, even. And yet here it's like, yeah, this is a shiesty dude, not good. But over here it's like, oh, look at this great king, Alexander the Great, right? No, this is not good, healthy motivations that's leading this person to grow his kingdom.
And then we finish with chapter 5, the revolt of the gladiators, whose power had something of a royal grandeur. And I could have sworn, I thought you were going to introduce me as, no, I'm Spartacus. Yeah. No, I'm Spartacus moment. But he talks about how just this small number of these gladiators were able to threaten this entire empire.
Yeah, absolutely. They bonded together, they fought, they collected a formidable army. And even though, these great kings have this great setup, they still had, plenty of strength and more than just a fair match against the Roman generals. And, achieved this amazing feat. Until, of course, their eventual defeat. But, Jason, let's go on to more important matters, right? That's how he closes chapter 5. He's like, yeah, but who cares about that? Let's actually talk about important stuff. And I'm like, then why are we talking about it to begin with? Come on. I got to say, chapter 5 was the one where I was like, okay. There really wasn't anything here that I was like, oh, yeah, that's a great point. I got to underline that one. But it did make me chuckle there at the end about let's move on to more important matters. What about you? Anything stand out to you in this chapter other than what you've already shared?
Yeah, I think to your point, I I was trying to remember, like, okay, why did Augustine bring this up? Especially when he was just kind of, like you said, just kind of sweeping the ending there. And I think obviously his point was near the bottom of page 140, where he says, now, if even the benefits of the briefest space of time are to be attributed to the help of the gods, those gladiators received no inconsiderable assistance. They broke their chains and their servile condition, and they escaped, and it goes on from there. So in that, again, I think that's the main point, because his whole point for the last several books has been about the gods, the lowercase g gods here, and who are they helping here? Are they helping the gladiators to break free, to build up an army, to be able to actually threaten the most powerful empire in the world? Or are they for the Roman Empire? But if they were for the Roman Empire, then why are they praying to the same gods? But then also, like, who are the gods helping out here? Because if they were following, then they're helping the gladiators first. But then they swung back to help you guys out, to wipe them out. Like, what? That makes no sense. Like, how is that working out there for you? So I think, he could have may have done a better job than he, but you could tell he's like, okay, this is just a brief story.
These guys are supposed to help you out. What happened here in this situation? You got these lowly gladiators that staged this whole thing, and it wasn't just nothing, right? So what gives?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the only other thing that I had to underline or notated right there. And I'm very thankful that, this ended where it did. Like, we had a good natural ending to these first 5 chapters too. I really appreciated that. I was like, oh, nice. Pause.
It was very perfect. Yes, I agree.
So other than that, nope, I don't have anything else.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us each and every week as we make our way through the city of God. Feel free to jump into our website and visit us there at readingyourwaytoheaven.fireside.fm. And until next time, we will talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.